Good morning. I can see somebody on the screen.
Good morning, Your Honor. Theodore Leal, Spanish interpreter. The interpreter has been previously sworn.
Excellent. And then your video into BRC1, which I think you know because you're on the screen, but let me know when you've made contact, please.
It always helps, Your Honor, to know, Your Honor, because sometimes it doesn't show us clearly.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if maybe because I called you, you're on the screen.
It's taking just a little extra time to connect, so let's
Sure.
give it a couple of seconds.
Sounds good.
Sí,
Connected, Your Honor.
Excellent. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name, please?
Rafael González.
Rafael González.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, you're here in case number 2020 CF 11693AO. You were arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of a controlled substance, that being oxycodone. I do find that there's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office. Well, it's saying that you don't qualify for the public defender. So let me ask you some questions first. And it indicates on your affidavit you make $600 a week, is that correct?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay, and then is that after taxes?
no, pues no importa.
No, that's with taxes included.
Okay, so, is that what your paycheck is what is your exact paycheck per week?
600 algo, más o menos. 600 y pico, depende.
600 and something. It depends.
Okay, it depends. Do you have any children or anyone that you care for financially?
No,
No.
Okay. And so, yeah, you're not going to qualify for the public defender, Mr. Gonzalez. You're going to have to speak with your own attorney. Do you understand that?
ok.
Okay.
Okay, I can't appoint them to represent you today. So, as it relates to the possession of cocaine and the possession of a controlled substance, you're not to possess or consume any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You've also got 2020 CT 5992AO. It's no valid driver's license. There is probable cause for that offense as well. And I can't appoint the public defender for you in that case. You've also got an out-of-county warrant, looks like out of Osceola County. You do have a bond of $250 for that. And I believe, are you going to be able to bond out on that charge, sir?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay. And he would not qualify for pretrial release because of the out of county?
No, Your Honor. With Osceola, we can put them on PTR. We're in the same.
No, I'm saying here in Orange County, it doesn't say that it says. Where are you working, Mr. Gonzalez?
para el Lowe's. Hago delivery.
For Lowe's,
And how long have you been working there?
Llevo ya como un año.
I've been there for about a year.
Okay. And then where are you living?
Ahora mismo me estoy quedando en casa de mi hermana. My sister.
Right now, at this point, I'm living at my sister's.
Where is that? What is the address?
En Claremont. La dirección exacta no me la sé, pero es en Claremont.
I don't know the exact address, but it's in Claremont.
But it's what?
In Claremont?
Okay. Did you used to live in Tampa?
No, antes sí.
No, before I did.
Ya,
Before that? Okay.
que maybe por eso, cuando me cogieron y me dieron los tickets, el oficial me dijo que me iba a llegar una carta por una citación allá y yo puse la dirección de Clermont, porque estoy viviendo en Clermont, que nunca me llegó eso. No sabía que yo tenía un guarante, ¿entiendes?
Yeah, the thing was that maybe that's what is happening because when I was stopped by the police,
I don't want you
they
to
told
talk, wait, hold on. I'm sorry, Mr. Interpreter. I just don't want him to go into any of the facts. It looks as though your address, based on the arrest affidavit, is showing Tampa, okay? So you're gonna need to change that if you're not living in Tampa, so any notice will be sent to your correct address, okay? And I can't appoint the public
Okay, no
defender,
sabía.
so you're gonna need to contact the clerk's office and make sure they know, I think you said your sister and her address, okay? So, I am gonna set the bond on the possession of cocaine at $500. Count two will remain at $150. The no valid driver's license will stay at $500 as well. You cannot drive without a valid driver's license. And the bond in the out-of-county will stay set at the $250. Do you have the public defender in that case in Osceola, do you know?
No sé. Yo había hablado con
Ay,
mi hermana
¿cómo?
y alguien iba a bregar. No sé qué ha pasado.
Yeah, I talked to my sister and someone was supposed to deal with that, but I really don't know what happened.
Okay, well, you're an adult, so you have to deal with it, okay? So you're gonna need to
Sí,
contact an
¿verdad?
attorney if you don't have the public defender there. Make sure everybody has your address and you don't miss any court dates, because it looks like that's the reason why you have the warrant out of Osceola County, okay? And you don't wanna be sitting in jail at no bond, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, good luck. Yeah, and he said he'd be able to bond out, so. Good morning. Tell me your name.
Rubén Ramos González. González Rubén Ramos.
González Rubén Ramos?
Ruben Gonzalez?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, you're here in case number 2020 MM 7057AO. You're arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find that there's probable cause. And prior to me appointing the public defender, Ms. Bush, did you have an offer for Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, Your Honor. This is taking into consideration that he is out on bond. The state's offer is an adjudication of guilt. 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, no return to the property at 2364 West Oak Ridge Road in Orlando, no contact with witnesses, no, abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, do you understand the state's offer if you wanted to resolve the case today?
I understand I can,
Well, you indicated that you needed the interpreter, so you're gonna have to use the
Okay.
interpreter, and I'd be more
Sure.
comfortable if that's your native language, okay? Okay, so, did you understand the state's offer?
¿cuál fue otra vez?
It's an
What was that again?
It's an adjudication of guilt, credit for the 2 days that you've served here at the jail. You may not return back to where you were trespassed, abide by the trespass, no contact with victims or witnesses. So you would get out today. I would not take any action on your out on release case, but you'd still have to go back to court for that case, okay? This case would be over today. Would you like to accept that offer?
Yes, ma'am. Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Did you read the plea form?
¿Cómo es? Sí.
Yes.
Did you understand everything that was on that plea form?
In this one?
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see what you have
I
in
don't
front of
understand
you,
what this
but
guy's
it lists out a bunch of constitutional rights that you have and those that you're giving up by entering a plea.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about those constitutional rights?
No.
No.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No. No.
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Le pregunto, en los otros casos que yo estaba fuera de ROR, ¿eso todavía está bajo fianza?
Now, I asked about the other case, the one that was ROR. I'm still out on bond on that one.
I'm not going to take any action on that, so you're going to need to go to court if you need to go to court for that case, okay?
Fuera.
Okay, so my question was, do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, I find a factual basis to accept your plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days with credit for 2 days' time served. No return back to the 2364 West Oak Ridge Road. No contact with victims or witnesses, and abide by the trespass warning. I'll order you pay your court costs by September 29th, 2021. If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you, sir. And I did not appoint the public defender and assess that additional cost for Mr. Gonzalez, okay? Good luck, sir. Good morning. Tell me your name, sir.
Eddie Garcia Gonzalez.
Eddie Garcia Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez, you're here in 2020 CF 11694AO. You were arrested for aggravated battery and resisting an officer without violence. I do find that there's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. And I don't believe we have any witnesses present today. Mr. Gonzalez, I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with any victim or any witness in the case. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the no contact order?
Yes.
Yes.
You're to also maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get personal belongings that you may need. You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition. And you're to comply with any Department of Children and Families investigation that there is pending. Your bond is set at $10,000 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. All right, thank you, sir. And do we know, Ms. Bush, do we know, are the speakers working out there yet, or?
I don't think they are.
Okay, if any, do we know if anybody else needs an interpreter out there? That's, I would have the
Does
interpreter.
anyone need an interpreter? I don't think so, Your Honor. Does anyone need an interpreter? No, I've been hearing them
Okay,
converse.
I think that is all we need for your services today, Mr. Interpreter. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Your Honor.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, and then, do we have Mr. Logan next? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
Michael Logan.
All right, Mr. Logan, and you're here being represented by Mr. Wiseman. Mr. Wiseman, are you filing or have you filed a notice of appearance?
I have not. I just got hired last night, Your Honor. I will file that today.
Okay, excellent. All right, and so this was reset by Judge Bigney. It's 2020 MM 7048AO. She did not find probable cause as to the violation of a domestic injunction, but she did order no contact. So, Ms. Bush, do you have any additional? I printed out the injunction, and then I did see a note in there from Process Service Memorandum to Sheriff for Lake County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, Your Honor.
But it doesn't, I don't have anything showing that it was served. The affidavit for arrest says that he was served, so I'm not sure why she didn't find probable cause, because the affidavit clearly indicates that he had been served. But I can't readdress her PC.
And Your Honor, that was the reason that she did not find probable cause, because she wanted proof of service
Correct.
of the injunction.
Okay,
However, the affidavit says that it was served, and there is no way to get proof of service at this point because it hasn't made it to the clerk's record, Your Honor.
okay. Well, I mean, somebody could have contacted the officer who wrote the affidavit to find
Your Honor,
out how they knew that there was
between
service.
yesterday evening and this morning, that was not possible. I did get an email late yesterday evening telling me that, and it's a whole different section of Orange County Sheriff's Office, and I could not tell because I did not have the affidavit before me. And I believed that it was that affidavit, it was that deputy that affected the arrest. That's what I am thinking, but I did not have the affidavit before me.
It's my understanding, based on the case law, I can't, without any additional information, I can't readdress Judge Bigney's probable cause finding, despite the fact that I would have personally found probable cause based on what was in the affidavit. But I can't legally, under the law, and readdress her probable cause finding based on the same information that she was provided. So,
And Your Honor is saying that that's pursuant to rule or administrative
it's case
order?
law, and I've read it. I can't cite the specific case, but I know that there's case law that says that I cannot readdress the same probable cause affidavit and make a different finding that a judge previously made.
And Your Honor, as the arrest affidavit was the actual process of serving that, the state has nothing further for the court.
Okay, so, I mean, you're not asking for
So-
additional time, is that what you're saying? Because you've been given 24 hours, there is extraordinary circumstances, I'm not sure if you're asking for that time, if you were.
And Your Honor, if the court would consider that it is extraordinary circumstances for the state not to have had sufficient time to get this information since yesterday evening, the state would ask for the additional 24 hours.
All right, Mr. Wiseman, any response to that request?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, it wasn't yesterday evening. My assumption is first appearance was yesterday morning in front of Judge Bigney. So it's either a call to the Sheriff's Office, the Warrants Department, Lake County, the Sheriff. I mean, it's not rocket science. We could have found out the answer by today. There was a very strict time limit in place set by Judge Bigney, and that has not been complied with by the state. So I request that your court honor the ruling of Judge Bigney and a finding of no probable cause.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I do know that we have a witness present, I believe she may have been here
Yesterday.
yesterday as
She was, yes.
She
well,
was.
for the notes, okay? So, and what I'm gonna do, Mr. Wiseman, in fairness to the state, I am gonna give your client a bond, okay? And so I will give him a bond, but I will also give them that opportunity to provide the service of process, based on what I believe is in the affidavit, and I would have made a different finding, although I can't readdress that. So I'm gonna give them the additional time, but I'm gonna give your client a bond, okay?
Right, understood.
So I know he was being held at no bond, and that was stayed as of yesterday. So I think that may resolve any issues, because he'll probably be able to bond out.
Exactly.
Okay.
I agree.
So, and ma'am, or can you raise your right hand to be sworn in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And then can you tell me your name and spell your last name for me, please?
Lisa Petro Logan.
Okay.
P as in Paul, I-E, T as in Tom, -Logan.
Okay, Miss Logan. And Miss Bush, do you have any questions for Miss Logan? I don't know, you weren't here yesterday, I believe, but she did appear yesterday, and the notes indicated that she did want the injunction dismissed and wanted contact, which Judge Bigney denied both requests. I don't think she could change an injunction if there is one, and that's something, she can't dismiss an injunction.
So the issue here, Judge, is obviously we have a civil injunction wherein there is a temporary injunction in place right now. The hearing on the permanent is October 1st.
Excuse me, I can't hear anything because outside.
Are they, you can't hear anything?
Because they're talking outside, I can't hear what's being said.
Okay, unfortunately, we have a problem with the speaker out there, but we can't have them talking, and they can't hear me, so you're just gonna have to, we'll talk as loud as we can. Is that a little bit better, Mr. Wiseman? Maybe
Yeah, and
get a
I'll
little bit
talk into
closer to the microphone? Okay.
Sorry, I'll repeat what I said, Your Honor. Yeah, it's my understanding there is a temporary injunction in place at the moment. However, I guess the question is, one, whether it was served or not. According to my client, it was never served on him. However, secondly, there is a injunction hearing to see whether the temporary becomes a permanent type injunction on October 1st. Obviously, the restriction right now is that he have no contact with his mother. However, I still think the court can issue an order in the criminal case, even if it's inconsistent.
I can't.
So
I can't override the injunction.
So she's going to go down today to the courthouse. She tried yesterday to get this thing obviously dropped and dismissed. And then I guess I can readdress it with the court at that point by motion.
Yes. So, Ms.
That's
Bush, do you have any questions for Ms. Logan?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Logan, unfortunately, I can't change the injunction, okay? If there's a temporary injunction that is in place, I'm not authorized to change that, dismiss that. That's something that you're going to have to go down to the courthouse and figure out how to do, or contact the judge in that case, or go to the hearing and do what you need to do at that hearing. So in this case, there'll be the no contact order, which is, I believe, already ordered by Judge Bigney. And Mr. Wiseman can then file a motion to modify that no contact order, or the state will figure out what they're going to do with the charges in this case. So I am going to set the bond at $500. And there will be that no contact order that is in place, and no weapons, firearms, or any ammunition. I'm going to add that because I'm sure that's part of the injunction as well. I did read that. So,
That's my assumption.
was there anything anyone else wanted to place on the record?
I think I do, Judge. Just so I understand, are you saying that the court I understand the court cannot rule on the civil injunction because obviously you don't have the jurisdiction to do so. However, with regards to the criminal case, I still think that the court can make a ruling of a no contact order, even if it's inconsistent with the civil injunction.
I can't, it's kind of like a DCF case where I can't overrule what's going on in a DCF case if there's no contact. I can't say you can have contact. So,
Okay, well,
if the injunction gets dismissed, right, or
course.
whatever happens with the injunction, then you'll just have to make a
motion.
motion to
That's
modify
fine.
and put all of that in your motion.
Absolutely.
But due respect, Your Honor, I'm the person who's the victim allegedly, and I don't want a order. So if I request that I don't want an order,
I know, but I can't change what's in the injunction, see, so.
I understand that.
Mr. Wiseman will be able to explain that to you as well, and the state attorney's office. I can't change or modify, so if there's already a no contact order in the injunction, I can't override that.
but if it was obtained with illegally, and yesterday I was
Well,
here at 12.
I'm not getting into the legality of the injunction. I can't change or modify what the judge in the injunction has already ordered.
Okay, well then I'll just file a judicial complaint against her, that's all.
Okay, you can do whatever you want.
I will.
But paperwork was obviously filed, and then somebody ruled on that paperwork and ordered no contact, or did a temporary injunction, okay? So you can go and you can ask for that to be dismissed, that's your right. I just can't change that or override that today. That doesn't mean that it can't be modified in the future, okay? So Mr. Wiseman can maybe help and explain that to you as
I will
well.
file, I'm hoping that she'll be able to go down to the courthouse today and get
We're
something
open
achieved.
today. It was a court holiday yesterday.
And that was
so-
the issue,
Okay.
Your Honor.
So.
She did try yesterday, unfortunately, because of Rosh Hashanah, she could not do
No,
it.
Yom
Yom
Kippur.
Kippur.
Was trying to do, so hopefully we'll get that taken care of, and then I can submit a motion to the trial
Okay.
judge, and we can get it taken
All
care of.
right, so he does have a $500 bond. I
Okay.
did give the state the opportunity to provide any additional information or supplemental information as to service of process as it relates to the injunction, but you should be able to bond out today, Mr. Logan, okay?
Is there a time limit on that, Your Honor, with regards to?
It's just an
the state-
additional 24 hours
Okay.
pursuant to the rule, so the state can have an additional 48 hours after arrest. Okay,
And
so it's
for-
a total of 72-hour total.
And forgive my ignorance, Your Honor, if in fact they don't provide the proof of service, what will the process be from there?
Well, then no probable cause would be found. That doesn't mean the state can't file an information on any information that they have as well. So he's just not out on release in terms of, so if he got arrested for something else, the court could not revoke that release
Right.
because, okay.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood where we were, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you, I
All right.
appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Logan. And you can go down to the courthouse, they're open today, okay?
I
May I
know.
be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Christian Torres.
All right, Mr. Torres, you're here, looks like in 2020 CF 11686AO. This was a reset from yesterday. Judge Bigney did find probable cause and then reset the case. She did appoint the public defender as well. I'm not sure why it was reset after a probable cause finding. So it's a fleeing attempting to elude a law enforcement officer with lights and sirens. As I stated, Judge Bigney did find probable cause and previously appointed the public defender. So your conditions of release are you're not to drive without a valid driver's license. Your bond is set at $2,500. Okay. Morning, tell me your name.
Julian Arthur.
All right, Mr. Arthur, you're here in 2020 CF 11626. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant. Probable cause was found for aggravated assault with a firearm. And I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. And do we have any witnesses? No? Okay.
Oh. Well, there was a witness there. I'd like.
No.
Oh, okay.
Any witnesses present today?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So, Mr. Arthur, I'm ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim in the case. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything in the order?
Yes.
All right, you're also to maintain a separate residence. I do see that the affidavit, the warrant signed by Judge Wilson indicated no return, but I believe that the offense is alleged to have occurred at his residence. So I'm not gonna order him not to return back to his residence. So I'm gonna strike that from the warrant and only order that you maintain a separate residence, okay?
Yes.
You're not to possess weapons, firearms, or any ammunition. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or any illegal substances without a valid prescription. Your bond is set at $3,500. All right, thank you, sir. Did you understand everything on the no contact order?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
What should I do with my firearm? I have a registered firearm.
Okay, so I'm going to order that you surrender that to your local law enforcement
Okay.
agency within 6 hours of any release from the jail.
Okay. And will
Okay.
that be returned upon dismissal of the case if I'm able to get it?
It should be, but
Okay.
you may have to have your attorneys file a motion for return of property for that. But right now, you can't own, possess any weapons, firearms, or ammunition. So if you don't surrender that and you get caught with a weapon, that can be a violation of your release and you could
Right.
be held at no bond, okay?
Right. Got you.
All right?
Yeah, I literally did not have my weapon on me. Okay.
The one with the additional 24 hours, you want him to reset if he has not marked it, correct?
Correct. Well, it would be reset anyway,
Okay.
because I still have to make a probable cause finding. I gave the state, he can bond out, but I gave the state additional 24 hours.
Okay.
So it will definitely be reset. Good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Brian Eads.
Mr. Eads, you're here in 2020 CF 11710AO. You're arrested for aggravated battery and domestic violence battery. I do find that there's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. We do have a witness present. Ma'am, can you raise your right hand to be sworn in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and you're very tall, so you're just gonna have to get a little bit closer to the microphone. I know it may be uncomfortable,
Okay.
but just so that we can all hear you. Can you state your name and spell your last name for me, please?
Jerusha Turner, Turner.
All right, Miss Turner, thank you. And then, Miss Bush, did you wish to inquire?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Turner.
Good morning,
What is your relationship with Mr. Eads?
fiance.
And do you want to have contact with him while this case is pending?
No, not until I'm ready.
I have no further questions. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Jurgens?
No question, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am, for your testimony. I am going to order that there's no contact directly or indirectly with the victim. Mr. Eads, I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order?
Yes.
Okay. You're also to maintain a separate residence if you need to return back to the residence to get any personal belongings. You must be with law enforcement. You can go one time with law enforcement to get your things. You're not to possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. Your bond on count 1 is $5,000. Count 2 is $100. All right. Thank you for your testimony, ma'am. Good morning. Tell me your name.
Avandi Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, you're here in 2020 CF 11735AO. You're arrested for battery domestic violence, false imprisonment domestic violence, kidnapping domestic violence, and tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement. I do find that there is probable cause for those offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender. And Ms. Bush, count 3 is a punishable by life felony. Do you wish to be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, if I may have just one moment to re-review the history. Your Honor, the state would ask the court to take into consideration the facts that are contained within the arrest affidavit, which is a sworn document that contains facts that were provided by the victim in this matter. The victim was in a position to know Mr. Johnson, and so identified Mr. Johnson as the individual that did commit the kidnapping, domestic violence. The state would ask the court to take those facts, plus take into consideration his criminal history that includes other dangerous and violent crime convictions and arrests, and find that proof is evident or presumption is great that Mr. Johnson is the person so identified in the sworn arrest affidavit, and hold him at no bond as to count 3, and in that holding of no bond, also take into consideration his criminal history of violent convictions, Your Honor.
Mr. Jurgen?
Yes, Your Honor. I would just say that this offense may have probable cause for false imprisonment, but may not rise to that of kidnapping because of the specific intent of the underlying intent may not necessarily be found, but I would defer to the court's discretion.
Okay. Prior to me making any finding, I do note that we do have a witness present. Ma'am, can you raise your right hand to be sworn in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can you state your name for me and spell your last name?
Sierra Selman, last name Selman.
All right, thank you, Ms. Selman. And Ms. Bush, did you have any questions for Ms. Selman?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Selman. Ms. Selman, do you want to have contact with Mr. Johnson while this case is pending?
Yes.
Was that yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you're going to have to get pretty close to the... And Ms. Selman, how long have you been in a relationship with Mr. Johnson?
3 years. 3 years?
3 years. And over the course of those 3 years, has there been violence in the relationship?
No, ma'am.
And over the course of the 3 years, are you aware that Mr. Johnson has been convicted of violent crimes, weapons crimes?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you all live together?
Yes, ma'am.
Who else lives with you?
It's just us.
Just the two of you? And Ms. Selman, if something like this would happen again, and you felt that you were in danger, would you call law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that alcohol or any kind of controlled substance might have contributed to Mr. Johnson's behavior?
No, ma'am. Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to go on record that I am struggling with a few mental illness issues. I relocated from Dallas recently, and I've been struggling with COVID, finding therapy and things like that associated with this. So I would like the court to take that into consideration. He does play a big part in my therapy and the process that I'm going through at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Jurgens, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so as it relates to the kidnapping, it does meet the elements of kidnapping, and based on the totality of the affidavit, I do find that there's proof evident presumption great. But I am going to give Mr. Johnson a bond, okay, and use my discretion. But before I get there, Mr. Johnson, I am ordering that you have no contact, directly or indirectly, with the victim at this time. That can be modified at a later date, okay? So I'm going to have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the no contact order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're also going to have to maintain a separate residence from the victim, so you may return one time with law enforcement to get your personal belongings, but you must be with law enforcement. You cannot go by yourself, okay?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that means you don't go over there and then wait for law enforcement. It means you call law enforcement, They tell you where to go, where to meet them, and then you go over there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or any illegal substances without a valid prescription. You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition. So I am going to set the bond on count 1 at $1,500. Count 2 will be $2,500. Count 3 will be $15,000. And count 4 will be $150. It looks like I don't think you have any holds, but you do have an outstanding warrant out of Kansas, okay? So I don't see anything about any holds on you, okay?
Thank you.
So you should be able to bond out. All right, so there is to be no contact, and then that can be modified, but, okay? All right.
Could I ask a question?
I would not ask me a question. Maybe Mr. Jurgens could answer that question for you, okay? I don't want you to say anything on the record.
I think so, but still no contact. She can't independence, but you can't talk to her, contact her in any way. So
All right? Thank you, ma'am. All right, good morning. Tell me your name.
Shakira Mesidor.
Ms. Mesidor, you're here in 2020 CF 11705AO. You're arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm, domestic violence. I do find that there's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I don't see any witnesses present, so I'm ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on that order, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're also to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your personal belongings. You're not to possess any weapons, firearms, or ammunition. If you have any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition, you must surrender them to your local law enforcement agency within 6 hours of release from the Orange County Jail. Did you qualify for pretrial release? You have no criminal history, so I'm gonna order that you go into pretrial release. Make sure you comply with the court order as well as pretrial release, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Sable Scott.
All right, Ms. Scott, you're here in 2020 CF 11736. You were arrested for aggravated battery on a pregnant person, resisting an officer without violence, and domestic violence battery. I do find that there is probable cause. For those offenses, I'll appoint the public defender. I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order?
Can I ask a question?
Is it about the no contact order?
Yeah, well, because it's my child.
I understand that.
So-
Okay, it's a domestic case, so somebody's always going to be in a relationship or have a relative, okay? So that can be modified as it's indicated in the order in writing by a judge. But until then, you cannot have contact, okay? Or the case is over, meaning the state decides not to prosecute it. So if you have questions about whether you can have contact or anything like that, you're going to have to contact the public defender and they'll be able to give you legal advice. But make sure you keep that with you so that you understand what you can and can't do.
Okay.
Okay, so do you understand everything that's on the order?
So would this be considered like I don't have any rights over her? Like she's not under my custody anymore?
You cannot have contact with her.
Because we live together.
I'm going to order that you maintain a separate residence. So if she's present at the residence, you cannot be there. If she is not present at the residence, you can be there.
Okay, because I'm a single mother.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but
Okay.
these are the court orders, so if
Okay.
you don't understand them, I'm trying to explain them to you.
Okay.
So if she's at the residence and living there, then you cannot be there. 'Cause
Okay,
you
so
can't have
she's
contact. If she's not there, you can be there.
Okay, because it's like a kind of difficult situation because she's a habitual runaway.
Okay, I don't want to get into the facts of the
Okay.
case, okay? So what, do you understand what I'm explaining to you?
Right, I guess.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. So again, you're to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement if she's there to get your things, because you can't be there if she's there. You're not to possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. You're to comply with any Department of Children and Families investigation that there is pending. And I'm going to place you in pretrial release. Make sure you comply with the court order as well as pretrial release, okay?
Okay.
All right, good morning. Tell me your name.
Thompson, Herschel Thompson.
All right, Mr. Thompson, you're here in 2020 CF 11702AO. You're arrested for grand theft third degree of a motor vehicle. I do find that there's probable cause. And you make $600 a week. Is that your paycheck? Is that what it is after taxes? That's your paycheck?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
Okay, do you have any children or people you take care of financially?
No.
No? Okay. All right, so you're not going to be able to qualify for the public defender, okay? So
Okay.
you're going to have to contact your own attorney, all right?
Okay.
Okay. So your bond on the grand theft is $1,000, no contact with any victim in the case. And then 2020 CF 11102, and that's a warrant, and probable cause was found for battery, domestic violence, and false imprisonment, domestic violence. And again, I won't be able to appoint the public defender's office to represent you based on your affidavit. So in that case, I'm ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim in the case. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order?
Yeah.
Okay. You're to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your personal belongings. You're not to possess weapons or firearms or ammunition. You're to surrender any weapons or firearms within 6 hours of any release from the jail. Your bond on count 1 is set at $3,500. Count 2 is $500. And you are, I did not see that, but you're out on release, sir. So, do we know if he has the public defender on that case?
He does not. He bonded out.
Okay. So, Mr. Thompson, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna appoint the public defender on all of your cases, despite the affidavit. I am revoking the release, 2020 CF 10216AO, and setting that bond at none. But you do have attorneys in all of the cases, so they'll be able to file any appropriate motions in that case for you, okay?
So, no bond, I can't get.
Well, you have bonds in the new cases, but that doesn't help you with the out on release case. So your attorneys, I've appointed the public defender on everything for you. And so the public defender will have to file a bond motion in the out on release case that you came in with. And they'll have to file a motion in the trial division with that judge to see if they'll give you a bond, okay?
Okay, and how do I go about that?
They'll give you a piece of paper with the public defender's phone number on it, and you can call them, and maybe Mr. Juergens will contact whoever is gonna represent you in that case, because I've just appointed them, okay?
Okay.
So you may not have somebody assigned right now.
Okay.
Good morning, tell me your name.
Good morning. Yeah, Stephen Toretto.
Mr. Torado?
Toretto, yeah.
Okay. You're here in 2020 CF 11738AO. You're arrested for tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement, robbery, sudden snatching, criminal mischief less than 200, and battery dating violence. There is probable cause for those offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender. I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim in the case. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on that order, sir?
Yes, yes.
You're also to maintain a separate residence from the victim. You may not return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. And you're not to possess any weapons, firearms, or any ammunition. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500, count 2 is $150, count 3 is $100, count 4 is $100. Good morning, tell me your name.
DeAndre Anthony Bailey.
All right, Mr. Bailey, you're here in 2020 MM 7052AO. You're arrested for domestic violence battery. You do find that there's probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're also to maintain a separate residence. You can return one time with law enforcement to get your personal belongings if you need to do that. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms or any ammunition. You do qualify for pretrial release. I'm going to place you in that program. Make sure you comply with the court order as well as pretrial release, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, tell me your name.
Good morning. My name's Vicky Baptiste.
Ms. Baptiste, you're here in 2020 MM 7060AO. You're arrested for domestic violence battery. Do you find that there is probable cause for the offense, and I'll appoint the public defender. I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're also to maintain a separate residence. If you need to return back there, you must be with law enforcement. You can get your things, you can go one time. You're not to possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. And you do qualify for pretrial release. I'm gonna place you in that program. Make sure you comply with my order as well as pretrial release, okay?
Okay.
Good morning, tell me your name.
Richard Gudritis.
All right, sir, you're here in 2020 MM 7049AO. You're arrested for domestic violence battery. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with any victim or witness in the case. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're also to maintain a separate residence. If you need to return back, you can go one time with law enforcement to get your personal things. You're not to possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. If you have any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition, you have to surrender them to your local law enforcement agency within 6 hours of your release from the jail. And you must comply with any Department of Children and Families investigation that there is pending. I am setting your bond at $1,500. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, tell me your name.
Morning, Leslie Greenberg.
All right, Ms. Greenberg, you're here in 2020 MM 7059AO. You're arrested for domestic violence battery. I do find that there's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. I'm ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim in the case. I'll have you sign the no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order, ma'am?
Yeah, but man, I didn't do nothing.
I'm
I never
sorry?
hit the man. I never hit him.
Okay, I don't want you to, I'm not saying that you're guilty of anything. I'm
okay.
saying that there's probable cause based on the affidavit. So if you have defenses, speak to your attorney about that, okay?
Okay.
All right, but do you understand everything on the no contact order?
Yes.
Okay, you're also to maintain a separate residence. You may return with law enforcement one time to get your personal belongings. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or any illegal substances without a valid prescription. You may not possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. Your bond is set at $1,500. Okay.
money, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
I don't have a money. I'm on Social Security.
Okay. Well, I don't have any testimony. If your attorney wants to provide testimony, I can listen to any testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
If I can be heard on the phone for a moment.
Ms. Greenberg, can you raise your right hand to be sworn in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning, Ms. Greenberg. Are you working right now?
No, I'm on Social Security.
And how much is your monthly income from SSI?
About $770.
Okay. And you have no other sources of income?
No, I'm just 71 years old. I'm retired.
I'm sorry, Ms. Greenberg, I just need you to talk into the microphone,
Oh.
and then I can hear you better.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Keep the mask on, but just talk into the microphone, okay?
Okay, I'm on the Social Security. I don't have that kind of money.
Okay.
And
And how long have you lived in Orlando or in Central Florida, Ms. Greenberg?
about 10 years now. But I've been in America for 50 years.
All right. And do you have family here in the area?
Excuse
Do you have family who lives in the area?
I have a daughter in Texas and son in South Florida.
Okay. Where in South Florida does your son live?
Florida.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
All right, Ms. Bush, do you have any questions for Ms. Greenberg?
Ms. Greenberg, have you contacted your son in South Florida?
No.
And is there anybody that you can contact that might be able to help you
No,
with
ma'am.
bond?
No. I haven't had the contact with my son for 20-something years.
Okay, so you have not had contact with your son?
No.
What about your relatives in
I
Texas?
don't have any relatives.
Oh, you
Only
have,
siblings are dead. They're gone.
do you have any family elsewhere in the United States?
I don't.
What about friends locally?
I don't have that many. Most of my friends are gone.
Okay.
I seem to outlive everybody.
And is Social Security income your only source of income?
Yes, it is.
I have no further questions. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Jurgens, any argument?
Yes, Your Honor. Given Ms. Greenberg's indigent status and her severely limited income from SSI, I would ask for reduction in the bond to either ROR or whatever the court deems fit below that. Does she not qualify for pretrial services?
She does not
Okay.
qualify for pretrial release, no.
Yeah, just given her indigent status, the fact that she's lived here for over 10 years shows that she's not a flight risk. That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Bush?
Your Honor, the state is not objecting to a reduction in bond. However, based on her conviction history as well as these charges, the state would recommend a bond as she does not qualify for pretrial release. The state does not believe that she is appropriate for release on her own recognizance. She's only been here 10 weeks in Central Florida.
Okay, so my initial bond was based on her criminal history, as well as the fact that she's previously pled to a battery with the same victim, and I'm looking at all of the cases with the same victim. There's a lot of them, and she's previously, in 2018, pled to a violent aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. However, based on the testimony, I will reduce the bond to $500. Ms. Greenberg, if you cannot make that bond, you're going to have your attorneys file a motion to reduce that bond in the domestic violence division, okay? And that judge will hear any further testimony, but I'm not going to release you on your own recognizance based on your criminal history, okay? All right? Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Tell me your name.
I am James Thomas, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Thomas, you're here in 2020 MM 705180. You're arrested for domestic violence battery. I do find that there's probable cause, and I don't have a form for the public defender. Were you planning on hiring your own attorney?
I was. I do have the funds, and I have a serious job, and
Okay,
yes, ma'am.
that's fine. just want to make sure that you had an opportunity to fill one out if you wanted the public defender, and I could see if you qualified. But if you, maybe they told you that you wouldn't qualify based on what you told them.
Yes, ma'am,
Okay,
that's what
all
she
right.
said.
So I am ordering that you have no contact directly or indirectly with any victim or witness in the case.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll have you sign that no contact order. Do you understand everything on the order?
I do, ma'am.
Okay, you're also to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your personal belongings.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. And I am placing you on pretrial release. Make sure you comply with my order as well as pretrial release, okay?
What does that mean, ma'am?
It's a program. You'll be required to report, but you won't have to post a bond. So they'll explain everything to you prior to your release, okay?
Do I get to my daughter today, ma'am?
Sorry?
Are you saying I get to see my daughter today?
If I said witnesses and your daughter was a witness, then you would not
Oh,
be
no,
able to
she's
see
not a
your
witness.
daughter, but I don't believe the witness was your daughter, so.
No, ma'am. I just don't exactly
You
understand the
can't
pretrial
have,
release.
is the mother of the child the victim?
Yes, ma'am.
Then did you read the no contact order?
I got it. I just.
Okay, so you understand that in order for you to have contact with the child, the no contact order will have to be modified or changed.
Yes, ma'am. What is pretrial release?
Okay, I've explained that. It's a program. You will not have to post a bond. You'll be required to report so that they know that where you're living or that you are going to show up to court, okay? They'll explain that to you before you get out, but you'll get out today. They'll process you.
Thank
Okay?
you so
But you
much.
can't have contact with your daughter
you
unless
so much.
it's
Yes,
been
ma'am.
modified, okay? So contact the public defender as soon as you get out. They can file a motion for you as it relates to your daughter, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay, good luck.
God
sir.
bless you.
All right, good morning. Tell me your name.
Kamsa Bobin.
Mr. Bobrin, you're here in 2020 CT 598680. You're arrested for driving under the influence and resisting an officer without violence. I do find that there's probable cause. I have a second case with a different case number with the same charges and the same affidavit.
Your Honor, I believe because they separate the traffic from the misdemeanor, I was thinking that the second case number was the misdemeanor, the
Okay,
resisting.
they listed both charges on
Yes,
both
Your-
affidavits.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, so for the CT case, I guess that's the DUI, so I do find probable cause for that. And I'll appoint the public defender. Then I've also got 20 MM 7065, so I'm gonna treat count 2 as the offense that they're listing in that affidavit as the resisting an officer without violence. And that there is probable cause, so I'll appoint the public defender as well in that case for you. And so on the CT case, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. Your bond will stay at the $500. And then also on the resisting an officer without violence, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And that bond will, I'm gonna set that bond at 100. I'm gonna treat it as a subsidiary. And sir, you're out on release for driving under the influence and resisting an officer without violence. So I am gonna revoke that release, 2019 MM 1030480. You do have Miss Maddie representing you in that case with, is that with
Yes.
Mr. Umansky's office?
Yes.
Okay, so
But-
you're gonna have to contact Miss Maddie, and she's gonna have to file a motion to see if the judge in that case will give you a bond, okay?
Uh,
I don't want you to talk about the facts of the case, but if you have a question about the procedure, I can maybe answer that for you. But I don't want you to say anything that you may later regret about any facts, okay?
I understand that.
Okay. Do you have a question?
So as I know, you say I have no bond, Miss Maggie.
Well, you have bonds in the new cases, but that you don't have a bond in the one that you were out on release on. So you were out on release for DUI and resisting. I did revoke that release. So Miss Maddie, who represents you, you'll have to contact her to file a bond motion for you with that judge, okay?
Oh, so right now I have no way to post a bond until Miss Marty
Right.
get in touch with the
In
judge.
that case, yes. Okay?
But once, let's say if the judge approved to give me a bond, then I could post my
Yes,
bond.
because you have bonds in the other case.
And then how much is
cases, I
will
should
how much is will be my bond?
You have a your total of $600 bond in the traffic and the misdemeanor case.
Oh, so actually right now they're charging me. They charge me. I have two different charges, right?
Yes, you have a DUI charge and a resisting an officer without violence. The same charges that you were previously out on release for. Just in different cases, okay? All right. Are we on the arraignments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Corey Anderson is medical.
Oh, medical?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So the PD was previously appointed for Corey Anderson. Mr. Jurgens, did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do we have this week's dates?
We do.
Okay. I just want to make sure before, so you don't have to redo everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Division 83 pretrial conference, October 26th at 9 o'clock, courtroom 6C. David Jolly is also medical.
Okay, and so he's not being held on this case. It's 2020 CT 4311AO, and he has no attorney. So I am gonna appoint the public defender. And Mr. Jurgens, did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Division 83 pretrial conference, October 26th at 9 o'clock, courtroom 6C.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
Sabrina Kimball.
All right, Miss Kimball, you're here in 2020 MM 6966AO, and the public defender was previously appointed. Okay. It looks like it was transferred from a felony to a misdemeanor. The state did file an information. And the information charges you with count 1, possession of drug paraphernalia, and count 2, exposure of sexual organs. Both are misdemeanors of the first degree, alleged to have occurred on or about July 29, 2020. And Ms. Bush, I don't know if you had an offer today. She has
No, you're-
64 days in.
No, Your Honor, I conveyed a no offer and recommended that it be handled in the trial division.
Okay, are you being held on something else, Ms. Kimball?
No, I am not. And why am I being taken to court? You know what? I want to ask the question.
So, Ms. Kimball, this is
Do
your-
you guys have
Ms.
evidence
Kimball,
that
hold on.
that stuff was on me?
Ms. Kimball, you're being brought to court because the state's charged you, and I have to legally advise you of what those charges are, okay?
Okay, you
That's
only
part of
told
the
her
pro-
one
That's part of the
charge.
process. So I've just advised you what you've been charged with, and sometimes the state has an offer to resolve the case.
Do they have an offer?
So the state does not have an offer today, and so they think that this case is better suited to be handled downtown in the trial division. I'm just gonna read the affidavit real quick.
You better. You motherfucking better. You better give a fuck what we finna do. Fuck you.
Ms. Kimball, you
What?
can't talk like that in
I
the
can talk
courtroom.
to any way I want to
No, you
motherfucking
can't, and I'm
talk.
gonna
Yes, I
have you
do.
leave the courtroom.
Don't touch me violently either.
So, Mr. Jurgens, I'm having her removed from the courtroom due to her behavior and her inability to behave herself. And do you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Division 83, pretrial conference, October 26th at 9 o'clock, courtroom 6C.
And just for purposes of the record, Ms. Kimball was using vulgar language towards the court and the officers. All right, good morning, sir. Tell me your name.
My name is Darren Darnell Bundy Jr.
All right, Mr. Bundy, you're here in 2018 MM20058O. You were arrested pursuant to a capias. This looks like you failed to appear for pretrial conference back in April 5th, 2019. The judge did give you bonds on each of the 4 counts, $5,000 and then $1,000 on counts 2 through 4. Are you on probation?
I'm not on probation. I have a valid driver's license, proof of insurance, and registration.
Okay, Ms. Bush, did you have an offer to resolve the case today? I think it's resolvable. Do we know how much credit for time served he has?
He has 3 days.
3 days?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's offer is an adjudication of guilt, 3 days Orange County Jail, 3 days credit time served. No, do not drive without a valid driver's license. And there is a cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $464. And there would also be court costs, Your Honor.
Okay, and I am showing that he had his license reinstated on August 5th, 2020. Okay, so
Yes,
you
ma'am.
do have a valid driver's license.
Which
So
is
you
wh-
did pay off all those fines, so that's good, right?
Right,
Okay.
which is why I was confused about the failures to appear.
Well, you still, when you have court dates, you gotta show up to your court dates, okay?
In
So
or-
if
in
you
order to
wanna-
get-
Well, we're past that, because I can't readdress the failure to appear. So you can either decide if you wanna bond out and you wanna go to court again for these charges, or if you wanna resolve the case today. The state made the offer of credit for time served, so you would get out today. I don't think there's anything else holding you. And then there's a cost of investigation of $464 to the Orlando Police Department, and I'd give you a year to pay off your court costs. And you can't drive without a valid driver's license, but you do have one now, okay? So did you want to do that today?
Just to confirm, how much would my bond be today?
Your bond would be a total of $8,000. And I can't change that because it's a capia, so I'm not permitted to do that. So if you wanted to resolve the case, you would get out today.
Whatever gets me out today.
Okay, well, I want to make sure that you understand what you're doing. So let me make sure that this isn't going to negatively affect, I don't see any other driving while license suspended or any charges on his driving history that would habitualize him or anything like that. So what driving while license suspended is an enhanceable offense, okay, Mr. Bundy? So if you're adjudicated guilty or a withhold, you can then be charged as a subsequent offender, okay? And that's a mandatory 10 days in the jail. So if you get another one, okay, you could be sentenced to 10 days in jail. If you get 2, then the state can then file it as a felony. So this is strike 1. If you get 3 within 5 years, then you become a habitual traffic offender and you lose your license for 5 years. So I just need to make sure that you understand that what I've explained. Do you understand that?
3 strike rule.
3 strikes. So this is strike 1 within 5 years. So if you get another one, then it could be a mandatory 10 days in jail. All right. And if you get another one after that, and it's within the 5 years, you lose your license for 5 years. If you have 2 priors and you get another one, then it could be charged as a felony. I know it's complicated, but I just want to make sure that you understand the consequences of the plea that you would enter today if you decided to take the state's offer.
I would need to enter a plea.
If you wanted to resolve the case today and you would not have to come back to court, if you wanted to take the state's offer, you would be entering a plea.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
If it means I won't have to return to court.
You would not have to go back to court for this case. I don't know about any other cases that you may have, but not for this one. Is that what you want to do?
Whatever gets me out of here, ma'am.
Okay, well, I need a yes or no answer.
Yes, I would like to get out of here.
Okay. Did you read the plea form?
Okay, did you get the link? Yes, I did.
Will I be receiving a copy of this documentation?
Would you what?
Would I be receiving a copy of this documentation?
Well, you can keep that,
Okay.
okay? Do you need a moment to go over the plea form?
No, ma'am, I just
Okay.
glanced over it.
Did you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand everything on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about the constitutional rights that you're giving up by entering the plea?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Are you on probation anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand everything that I explained to you about the offense of driving while license suspended?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and knowing all of that, you still want to go forward with the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I do find a factual basis to accept your pleas to the offenses of resisting an officer without violence, driving while license suspended, no motor vehicle registration, and possession of a suspended driver's license. I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days with credit for 3 days time served. You can't drive without a valid driver's license. I'll order that you pay any cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $464, as well as court costs, by September 29, 2021. That gives you a year, okay? If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentences of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one would be appointed for you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, good luck.
Question really quick.
Yeah?
Will I have the opportunity to bond out immediately?
I'm sorry?
Will I have the opportunity to bond out immediately?
Your case is over.
Okay.
You don't have bonds anymore because you resolved your case. Tell me your name.
Zelaya.
Zelaya? Zelaya? Okay. All right. 2019 MMs 9023AO. You are arrested for failing to appear for a status hearing on September 15th, 2020. And the judge did revoke your release, set your bond at $5,000, and then in 2020 MM 3642AO, it's a failure to appear for a status hearing on September 15th, 2020. The judge did revoke your release and set your bond at $2,500 on both counts. I believe she has the public defender previously, and I did see competency motions filed in those cases, so I'm not going to entertain any pleas today based on the filing of those motions.
I believe she's been found competent, Your Honor. I just checked with her assistant public defender, but
Okay, and what case was that?
I apologize, Your Honor. Also, the downtown public defender and the downtown ASA came to an agreement on a plea for today, is my understanding from Mr. Jernigan.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to get a motion to withdraw plea in a day or two because of a pending competency motion, as has occurred before. And
Yes,
so
Your
I'm
Honor.
looking, I see a status hearing and that alerts me, and I look up the case and I see that there were motions filed. So I just want to make sure that we're not.
Your Honor, if we could just have it set for that status day, just to err on the side of caution, and I'll reach out to the assistant public defender if she wants to set it for an in-custody plea down the line.
Okay, let me just look and see, because I'm showing In 2020 MM 3642, there was no motion filed in that case. I think it's the other case. Let me look that one up. So on December 30th, 2019, there was a motion or suggestion to determine competency. And I see nothing in that, don't even see that evaluations were ordered or anything of that nature. So, I mean, unless you want an opportunity to speak with her and then you can advise the court that you feel she's competent and understands the nature of what's happening now, and as an officer of the court, I would take your word for that, but I would prefer you speak with her and go over everything with her before I took a plea if she wanted to enter a plea today.
I understand.
Okay.
I just looked through the case files we have, and I have an evaluation from February of this year saying that she's competent, but I can speak with her for a moment.
Sure, and I mean, you know, sometimes people go in, February of 2020 was a little while ago, so I'll give you that opportunity to talk with her. If you want to reset it for the second session, and that gives you time maybe to go over things with her a little bit more?
Yes, sure.
Okay, why don't we do that? So, Ms. Zelaya, are you interested in resolving your cases today? Before we go ahead and reset everything, I just want to make sure she's interested in doing that, okay?
March 16th.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you interested in resolving the cases, the two cases that you have today?
Yes,
You're gonna have to speak up because I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna have Mr. Jurgens, he's a public defender, okay? So he's gonna go over some stuff with you and we'll decide whether or not we're gonna enter pleas today, okay? So we'll recall your case, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right, no problem.
23, she has 131 days of the credit time served as of March, so she's not more as of now. And she has a cost of
And
investigation.
Ms. Bush, what were the, just so I have it, what were the offers?
Your Honor, my understanding from Mr. Jernigan and now looking in 9023 from March of this year, there was an adjudication of guilt, 131 days credit time served at that time, no contact with witnesses, no return to the scene, and court costs. And one of the two cases has, and I believe it's that case, has a cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $117.66.
And was that for the 2019 case?
That was for 2019 MM 9023.
Okay, so you're saying she has 131 days? She has 135. She has 135.
According to the notes that were written back then, they said that it was 131 days as of March 16th. I don't know. I have not calculated.
Okay. The clerk is saying 135. And then so that would be a credit for time served after with the cost of investigation. And then the 2020 case.
And then in the 2020 case, I don't see any notes regarding the agreement. However, the state would convey an agreement of an adjudication, credit time served, no return to the CVS at 7300 Curry Ford Road, no contact with witnesses, abide by all trespass warnings, and court costs.
And she has 63 days per the clerk in that case, okay? So, Mr. Jurgens, if you could just go, maybe that gives you a little bit more information about her time served, and then you can explain that to her.
Of course.
Okay? All right, so we'll recall her case second session. All right, Adam Easley, that's not Mr. Easley. Okay, I'm gonna, well, that's 2020 MO 980. I'm gonna reset Mr. Easley for tomorrow. Maybe he'll decide he wants to come to court tomorrow. Or behave himself enough to come to court. All right, are you Amanda Kinnaman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Ms. Kinnaman, you're here in 2019 CF 143180. It's a warrant for a violation of community control. And Judge Roche did set your bond at none in the case. And 2019 CF 3618BO, it's also a violation of community control. And Judge Roche did set the bond at none as well in that case. So I'm going to appoint the public defender. You'll see Judge Whitehead in a couple days for an arraignment. In the meantime, the public defender, reach out to them because they can file any motions to set bond for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Slater.
All right, Mr. Narette, you're here in 2020 CF 3590. It's an on-view violation of probation based on the new law offenses of attempted burglary of an occupied dwelling and possession of burglary tools, and that's 2020 CF 11718. I do find that there's probable cause for both of the cases and those offenses, and I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in both of the cases. So on the violation of probation, the bond will be stayed at none. You'll see Judge Whitehead in a couple days for an arraignment, and for the burglary or attempted burglary of an occupied dwelling and the burglary tools, you're not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. It looks like the Ridge Club apartment complex. You're not to go back there, specifically also 4538 Oak Haven Drive. And no contact with any victim, any witness, or any co-defendants in the case. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. Your bond will stay at $2,500 and $150 on that case.
So no bond on the probation one? I gotta see a,
You have no bond on the violation of probation, and you'll see Judge Whitehead in a couple days, okay?
Okay.
All right. Is that Mr. Pollock?
Yes, Judge.
Hi.
How are you?
I don't have my glasses, and people have masks on, so I try really hard. Are you here? Is your client for a felony?
Yes, ma'am. I was told 11 o'clock was your...
Okay, yeah, no. But we'll, what is the client's name?
Simon Chung. Simon Chung.
How do you spell that?
C-H-U-N-G.
Chung, okay. I'll have my JA bring me the paperwork, and we'll see if we can get Mr. Chung, if corrections can grab him.
Okay.
We'll see if that's possible.
I'm sorry. I was
No,
told-
you're fine. It's an issue with the information, so.
What time was it supposed to be?
Well, we do our felonies, depending on the felony, and at 1 o'clock, but we do move up. It's just with COVID and having one courtroom, we're sort of trying to, but we're happy to,
I'm glad I'm not later. That'll be early.
well, you're early, but we'll, Are we able to get Mr. Chung soon? Okay, because I'm going to have to read the affidavit as well. And if you want to talk to Ms. Bush, you can. All right, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Mr. Hall.
Mr. Hall, you're here on a Gadsden County warrant, and the judge in Gadsden County did set your bond at none. And so I'm going to appoint the public defender here to represent you because I don't think Gadsden County is going to come and pick you up right yet during the pandemic. So I'm going to appoint the public defender. We will reach out to Gadsden County and speak to the judge in Gadsden County to see if they'll give you a bond, okay? So you'll come back in about a week or so, and we'll let you know the status of that. But in the meantime, you can reach out to the public defender, and they may be able to file a bond motion here for you as well, okay?
Okay, is there any kind of way I can be on R&R?
I can't change or modify that bond, but we're going to reach out to the judge, and we'll let you know if they'll agree to giving you a bond or any other kind of release, okay? All right. Yes. All right, tell me your name, please.
Omar Martinez Harris.
All right, Mr. Martinez Harris, you're here in a Seminole County case. It's an out-of-county warrant, and the judge in Seminole County did set your bond at none. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint the public defender here to represent you in that case. They'll be able to file any bond motions for you here, but we will reach out to the judge in Seminole County to see if they'll give you a bond or modify that, okay? I'm not going to take any action on the out on release cases here in Orange County. Make sure you just keep in touch with your attorneys on those cases, okay? You should hear back from us and come back in about a week, okay?
Yeah, but I do have a baby that's gonna be born in the next.
I'm sorry?
I have a baby that's gonna be born
Okay.
in the
I
next
understand.
week or so, and I don't understand because it doesn't say I violated with any charge or violated any.
So my guess is that it is a violation of probation, and it may be based on the new cases that you have from Orange County. I can't change the bond, so like I said, we will reach out to the judge in Seminole. You'll hear back in about a week from us, and you'll come back to court. We'll give you an update on that, okay?
Yeah, but it wasn't.
We can't change the bond. I have appointed the public defender, so you have somebody you can call to help you with your case, legally speaking. I can't change that for you today, okay?
So I have to wait a week to.
Or until we hear back from Seminole County, okay? Can you tell me if you've been sworn in today?
Yes. My number is 352294.
And have you been sworn in at all today?
Yes.
Okay. And then we're just waiting on the individual to be brought before me. Okay. And then if you could just introduce yourself so that I know he understands you and ask him to state his name, please.
OK. Bonjour, nom moi c'est Douglas. M'observe au interprète jeudi. OK? Est-ce que vous avez dit non avec signature?
Steve Moyes.
Vous êtes Steve Moïse, c'est ça?
And can you please tell him to keep his mask on?
Et puis toujours mettez masque là dans la bouche, OK? Pas retirer.
Okay.
All right. Sir, you're here in case number 2020 CF 11611.
OK. Avait dit que vous attendez cas, vous avez le numéro cas, c'est PF 11611.
Okay.
You were arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found.
Vous êtes arrêté avec un mandat qui a été donné avant.
For the offenses of aggravated battery, great bodily harm, dating violence.
ou t'es arrêté à cause des violences qui ont été faites, hein, à cause de tout ça qui t'est passé. Hein.
Burglary of an occupied dwelling with an aggravated battery.
Ça veut dire ça qui t'es occupé des batteries et de tout ça que t'es fait.
Tampering with a witness, victim, or informant.
Ou t'es gagné un témoin temporaire et avec monde qui t'est victime dans tout.
Robbery and child abuse.
C'était vol et aussi abus d'enfants. T'as abusé un petit monde.
I am going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case.
Ça veut dire que moi pourrais demander en défense publique là pour représenter au nom cas.
And count 2 is a punishable by life felony.
C'est tout ça qui est arrivé. C'est toutefois tu as gagné une félonie de la vie.
Does the state wish to be heard as to bond?
Et tout ça, on va le gagner tant qu'il y a défense.
Yes, Your Honor. The state would ask the court to take into consideration the facts contained in the affidavit for the arrest warrant. In that affidavit, there...
Let me let him...
Okay.
We'll do piecemeal.
Mr. Interpreter, do you need me to repeat that?
No, thank you so much. I can go. D'après ça que tu fait, surtout pour affidavit là et mandat qui était allé, hein?
That affidavit contains facts that were provided by an ex-girlfriend, the victim in this matter.
Okay. Affidavit ça lui-même, il était gagné tout fax là-dedans, il était gagné tout ça qui était gagné surtout dans le rapport mandat et de tout le monde qui était combattu violence là.
And the importance of the victim being an ex-girlfriend is that she knows the defendant.
Important si gagné de monde qui victime ou bien monde qui était cause car ça veut dire pour connaître que toute mesure qui prend et tout ça qui fait après.
And the facts that provide what the state believes is proof evident or presumption great.
Tout ça qui gagne un impact dans lui-même, c'est toute preuve qui a gagné que la justice a quoi et tout ça qui est évident.
That Mr. Moyes did burglarize the victim's apartment.
Ça veut dire M. Moïse lui-même, il était abusé et puis il était fait tout ça qui était mal avec le monde qui est victime dans l'appartement là.
And once pushing into her apartment, did hit her multiple times in the face and on the body.
Pendant que ou même où t'es entré dans l'appartement, que t'es poussé plusieurs fois, ou t'es balé plusieurs coups dans le visage et dans tout le corps.
The state would ask the court to find that proof is evident or presumption is great.
Ça que nous-mêmes nous demandons tribunal là, c'est que joignent toute présomption et tout ça qui est évident pour que nous joignent ça.
That Mr. Moyes is the person that committed the burglary, the battery, and the theft of the victim's cell phone.
Ça veut dire que c'est M. Moïse lui-même qui était commettre volant, qui était en téléphone cellulaire, monde qui victime non, batterie et tout l'autre bagaille.
And the state would ask the court to hold him at no bond as to count 2.
Et État lui-même l'a demandé tribunal là pour que aucun bel avec aucun autre rien encore qui t'a dit ou bien aucun procès.
Mr. Jurgens?
I would defer to the court's discretion, Your Honor.
And Mr. Interpreter, I believe the Office of the Public Defender said that they would leave it in the court's discretion. If you could simply translate that for Mr. Moist.
Ok. Ça veut dire que n'a gagné pour nous quitter au dans tribunal.
All right, so, Mr. Moyes, I do find proof evident presumption great as to count 2.
Monsieur Moïse, moi je joins en pile preuve, en pile présomption et toute l'autre bagaille pour que nous prenions compte.
And that is based on my review of the arrest warrant affidavit.
Et tout ça est basé sur le dernier mandat et sur l'affidavit qui a été envoyé.
I am going to order that you have no contact directly or indirectly with any victim or any witness in the case.
Et moi, je vais demander pour qu'il n'y ait pas aucun contact, ni direct, ni indirect, avec ni victime, ni aucun autre monde qui a été communiqué.
I'm going to have you sign the no contact order that is in Haitian Creole.
Et moi, je vais le faire signer. Lettre ça qui veut dire ou pas aucun contact avec aucun monde. Ça c'est l'ordre là, li en créole haïtien.
Do you understand everything on the no contact order, sir?
Est-ce que vous comprenez toute bagaille qui dans lettre que vous pas de contact à aucun monde non?
I need an out loud answer.
Moi besoin d'une réponse que vous répéter très fort. Vous pouvez parler plus fort?
Oui.
Yes.
You're not to return to where the offense is alleged to have occurred.
Ou pas supposé retourner côté ça t'est fait là.
You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or any illegal substances without a valid prescription.
Ou pas supposé boire aucun médicament, aucun rien, sans que vous pas une prescription qui valide.
You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition.
Ou pas aucun droit pour posséder aucun arme à feu, aucun couteau, rien du tout, sans aucun l'ordre.
You're to comply with any Department in Children and Families investigation, should there be one pending.
Si toutefois tu as gagné une application de Timoun et Famille qui était en cours, ou tu as gagné tout pour parler avec eux, pour faire connaître ce qui s'est passé,
Your bond on count 1 is set at $25,000.
moi, ouais, tout bon dans les mêmes, quantité compliquée à coûter, c'est $25,000.
Count 2 will be set at none.
Si toutefois, deuxième compte là, les mêmes, les cas 0 ou bien pas du tout.
Your attorneys will be able to file a bond motion downtown in the trial division for that count and any other count.
Avocat là lui-même, les va gagner pour le remplir l'autre compte ça, ou bien pour le remplir qu'elle la compte tout ça yo.
Your bonds on count 3, 4, and 5 are set at $150.
Bande qui c'est 2, 5 là, alors 3, 5 là, qui prend $175.
You also have an immigration detainer.
On va le gagner tout, que on va le gagner une détente d'immigration.
And so you'll need to speak with the Public Defender's Office about filing a bond motion as well as any immigration detainer.
Et on va le gagner pour parler avec le département tout, pour qu'on puisse remplir en détente immigration, ça qui est gagné qui attend.
Yes, Ms. Bush?
Your Honor, if the court could inquire whether or not he has a passport, and if he does, the state would ask that he surrender the passport.
C'est toutefois le tribunal là lui-même les cas fait connaître si vous gagnez un passeport ou pas, ou bien si toutefois tu as gagné pour que nous fassions.
Mr. Moyes, do you own a passport?
Monsieur Moïse, est-ce que vous gagnez un passeport?
Yes.
Yes.
And so you're going to have to, you don't have bond right now, but if you are to receive a bond from the trial division judge, you will have to surrender the passport within 24 hours of release to the clerk's office.
Ça veut dire si toutefois ou pas gagné ou bien t'as gagné, ou pas gagné un bon cognac, mais depuis t'as gagné, on va gagner 24 heures de temps pour qu'à présenter passeport dans clerc là, immédiatement au fin libéré. Alors délai qu'on libéré.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Interpreter. I appreciate your services.
You're welcome. Is there anything else for the interpreter?
That is it. Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you for using our service.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Zelaya. We're recalling your cases. It's 2019 MM 9023AO and 2020 MM 3642AO. And Mr. Jurgens, were you able to speak with Ms. Zelaya about her cases and any possible plea?
Yes, I was, Your Honor. At this time, we just enter a plea of not guilty and reset it.
Okay. Well, it's it was for a status hearing. So my guess is that there may have already been pleas entered at some point after informations had been filed. So what we'll do is we're gonna give you new dates.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
she'll just be required to post the bond, and if she's unable to post the bond, your office can obviously file a motion to modify that.
Right.
Okay.
Division 62, pretrial conference, November 12th at 9 o'clock, courtroom 9B.
So, Ms. Zelaya, you do have a $5,000 bond in the 2019 case, and then a total of a $5,000 bond as well on both of the counts, $2,500 on each count in the 2020 case. So if you're unable to post the bonds, your attorneys will be able to file a motion to modify with the trial division judge, okay? All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Andrew Chico.
All right, Mr. Chico, you're here in case number 2020 MM 7056AO. You're arrested for conspiracy to commit petty theft. I do find that there is probable cause. I don't have a form for the public. Oh, I have a form for the public defender.
Yeah, I had to bring it. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You qualify. And so you do qualify, so I'll appoint them to represent you. I don't know if the state will have an offer for you today.
The state does not have an offer, Your Honor.
There's no way we could resolve this today,
Well,
ma'am?
Mr. Chico, the state doesn't have an offer. My guess is because you're out on bond for multiple thefts, okay? So,
Is there any way that I could ROR, please?
no, not today. So, as it relates to the conspiracy to commit petty theft, you're not to return back to any public, so you're not to have any contact with any victim, witness, or co-defendant. They'll stay the bond at the $250, but I am revoking the releases in your other cases.
Please don't, ma'am.
Well, I am.
Why?
Because-
I will not have the money to afford to put those bonds back on. Please?
Well, your attorneys will have to file a bond motion with the judge in those
But I will
cases.
not be able to afford the new bonds.
Then the judge will evaluate whether or not they're going to release you in any other manner, but today I'm revoking those releases.
Oh,
So
ma'am.
2020 CF 9633, 2020 CF 8458, 2020 CF 2188, and 2020 MM 4807AO. And it looks like you have the public defender that I can tell.
Are you revoking my bond in Osceola County too?
That's the
This
21,
case- Oh, okay, maybe it's this one. I have a
that's the
different name.
2188, Your Honor.
2188, I have Bradley Booker.
I think that's the Osceola case.
Do we have to revoke that one, ma'am?
I am revoking that one, sir. So, but I will appoint the public defender on any case for which you do not have the public defender, and that way they can file any appropriate motions for you in those cases.
And why are you revoking those again?
Because I found probable cause that while you're out on release, that you've committed a new law offense.
But I didn't commit any crime.
Well, that's, if you have a, I'm not,
Hold on.
I'm saying that there's probable cause, I'm not saying that you're guilty, okay?
So why would you do that?
I just explained.
That makes no sense, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, tell me your name.
Ursula Whitney.
Ms. Azuma? All right, you're here in 2020 MM 7062AO. You're arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find that there's probable cause. I have a form for the public defender, but before I appoint them, Ms. Bush, did you have an offer to resolve the case today?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, no return to the Vintage Winter Park, and abide by all trespass warnings, no contact with witnesses.
All right, she doesn't appear to have any history.
There was an arrest history, Your Honor.
Right, but no,
And
I don't know when that was, and it's just an arrest. So,
And-
Ms. Azuma, I don't know if you want to resolve your case today or if you want to go back to court. You have a clean record. You don't have any convictions. I'd hate to ruin that for you today. Would you like to go back to court? I just want to make sure that you're not going to miss any court date.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
You want to go back to court? You may qualify for another program with the state attorney's offices. So, and that might be good for you, okay? So, where are you living? Are you living on the streets? You don't, do you have a place where you get your mail? No? Do you have a phone number? No? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, how long have you been in Orlando?
Like 8 months.
8 months, and you just been living on the streets?
Yeah, since yeah.
Do you have a place where you can get your mail?
I figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna release you today on your own recognizance. That means you're promising me that you'll go to court. You're gonna get a court date when you get out, okay? I'm gonna also require that you call the public defender's office or find a way to get in touch with them, find out who your attorney is, okay? And make sure that they have a way of getting in touch with you. If you miss that court date, it's possible the judge will issue a warrant for your arrest and you'll get arrested again, and I don't wanna see that happen, okay? So it's really important that you show up to court, okay? All right? Mr. Jurgens, do you have a piece, do we have the public defender form for her? I just want to make sure she has that.
yes, I do, Your
Okay.
Honor.
So call that phone number within 24 hours, find out who your attorney is, and then just make sure you don't miss your court date, okay? Okay. And I'm gonna order, don't go back to the 7490 North Dwell Well Way. Okay, you've been trespassed from there, so you gotta abide by the trespass warning, no contact with anyone, any victims or witnesses at that location, okay? If you go back, probably gonna get arrested, okay? I don't want you to come back here for that. Okay, you'll be released today. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Howard Jones.
All right, Mr. Jones, you're here in 2020 MM 7058AO. You were arrested for trespass, and I do find that there's probable cause. And I don't have a form for the public defender. Ms. Bush, did you have an offer?
Yes, Your Honor,
Okay.
and the offer is being conveyed with the understanding that he has 2 out-on-bond release cases. The offer is an adjudication of guilt, 7 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served. No return to the Floridian Express Hotel in Orlando. No contact with witnesses. Abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you want to do that, Mr. Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, did you read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand everything on the plea form?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Is that a no? Okay. Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do find a factual basis to accept your plea. Based on the affidavit, I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 7 days with credit for 2 days time served. You cannot return back to the Floridian Express Hotel at 6323 International Drive. No contact with any victims or witnesses, and abide by the trespass warning. I'm going to give you a year to pay your court costs off, so they'll be due September 29th, 2021. I'm not taking any action on the other cases, but don't miss any court dates, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
If you get arrested again, I can't guarantee somebody, any other judge won't revoke your release, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Okay. Tell me your name. Keep the mask on, sir. We can all talk with the mask on. Okay.
Zedekiah Lafayette.
All right, Mr. Lafayette, you're here in 2020 MM 7061AO. You were arrested for criminal mischief and trespass in a structure. And I do find that there is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender. I don't think Ms. Bush would have an offer today.
No, Your
based on
Honor.
the charge. Okay. So, I'm ordering that you're not to have any contact with any victim, witness, or co-defendant, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no return back to the 4110 West Pine Hill Circle. Your bond will stay at $1,000 on count 1 and $150 on count 2. All right, thank you, sir. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Jose already.
All right, Mr. Reddy, you're here in 2020 MM 7053AO. You're arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find that there is probable cause. I have a form for the public defender, but before I appoint them, Ms. Bush, did you have an offer?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 5 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served. No contact with witnesses, no return to the scene, which is the laundromat at 2364 West Oak Ridge Road in Orlando. Abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
Can I say something though? But I don't understand is I was talking to.
Mr. Reddy, I don't want you to talk about the facts of the case, okay? Because if you don't enter a plea today, it could affect you later. If you don't want to accept the state's offer, you don't have to.
I gotta go to work. That's why and if I don't understand, I gotta go to work. Like
Okay.
I just got that
You
job.
don't have to accept the state's offer. That's fine. So I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You're not to go back to the laundromat at 2364 West Oak Ridge Road. No contact with victims or witnesses, and abide by the trespass warning. The bond will stay at $500, but I'm not taking any action on the out on release case. So make sure that you show up to court when you have to show up to court, okay?
So I could do that bun out with that. Okay, that's all.
Yep.
So what about the hold with the other?
I lifted the hold.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just don't miss court.
Appreciate that.
All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Hector Wilson Santiago.
All right, Mr. Santiago, you're here in 2020 MM 7063AO. You're arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find that there's probable cause, and I don't know if the state will have an offer based on the nature of the offense.
The state does not, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, Mr. Santiago. You're not to have any contact with any victim or witness in the case. You're to abide by the trespass warning, and you're not to return to 4531 Elm Crest Court. That bond will stay at $500.
Can I get R&R, ma'am?
No, sir. And you're out on release. So what I'm going to do is you're out on ROR in 2020 MM 2776AO. I am revoking the release, but I'm setting your bond at $500 on each count. And in 2020 CF 7354AO, I'm revoking the release, setting the bond at $7,000 on count 1 and $300 on counts 2 and 3.
So what does that mean, ma'am?
So that means that I've revoked your releases, but I've given you bonds, so you should be able to bond out if you're able to bond out, okay?
And if I can't bond out?
Then your
what-
attorneys will have to file a motion to modify the bonds.
So I can't get any R&R or R&R? I don't have anyone that I can call. Is there, what would I have
There's
to
a
do now?
phone number that you can call for the public defender. They're representing you. And you should be able to talk to them about giving you legal advice, or they can help you contact family members or friends that may be able to help you post a bond.
And how much is my bond in totality?
So, total bond, I don't know if Madam Clerk could calculate that for me.
Your Honor, on his out-on bond, the 2020 CF 7354 case, they added a fourth charge for possession of drug
Right, but he
paraphernalia.
wasn't arrested on that.
Okay.
So I can't set a bond on that. I'm only setting bonds on what he was arrested for.
Okay.
Okay?
How much would that
Well,
be?
hold on.
I'm trying to figure out how many counts he got first.
So I set the bonds at,
I got it. I was just looking for the MM case.
I set them at 500 on each count. So that's 1,000, 8,000, 8,600 plus 500.
9,100.
9,100.
9,100?
Yes, sir.
And I would have to pay 10% of that?
I don't know. You'll have to contact the bondsman. Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
My name is Tatiana Vera.
Miss Vera, you're here in 2020 MM 7055AO. You're arrested for retail petty theft. I do find that there is probable cause. And I don't know if the state will have an offer for you today.
The state does not have an offer, Your Honor.
So I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in your case. You're not to have any
Okay.
contact with any victim, witness, or co-defendant. You're not
Okay.
to return to any Publix supermarket.
Ma'am, I do have 3 children sitting at my house waiting for me. The officer that arrested me took my phone and has not put it in my property. I do not have a way to contact my 3 children. I have a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Okay, I don't know
And I
what
have
you
no
want me
family
to-
members.
Okay, I can't contact them for you, but I've appointed the public defender so they can contact them for you.
Okay, they're sitting at my house by themselves. I don't know
Well, then-
how I don't have a way to contact anyone because the arresting officer took my phone. I have
Well,
no
there are phones at the jail.
I know, but I have no phone numbers. Nothing.
Well,
I was
that's-
wondering if I could get an ROR or some.
Ma'am, you're out on release for a theft as well as possession of cocaine.
I do understand that. It's just I'm trying to get home to my children. I have the 3 children at the house by themselves. I have no other way to contact anyone.
Okay, well,
No addresses, no phone numbers. The officer took the phone. I don't have it in my property. He took it with him, and I don't know how else to contact my children. I have a 6-year-old sitting at the house, and my 13-year-old is taking care of my children.
all right. So you're not to return back to any Publix. You're not to have any contact with any victim, any witness, or any co-defendant.
Okay.
Okay. I am staying your bond at $250, but I
What to
won't take
do?
any action on your other release cases. So I'm not revoking your release. So That's a good thing, because
I don't have anyone else.
ma'am, if I revoked your release, you would be sitting it here at no bond. I'm not releasing you on your own recognizance with having 2 cases out on release. One is a felony and one is a theft, okay?
Okay.
All right? So you're gonna have to call the public defender's office.
I don't
And
know
they'll-
what to do though with my kids. Oh my God.
I'm not going to release you on your own recognizance. All right, please tell me your name.
My name Christopher David Blue, ma'am. Christopher David Blue.
I have Mr. Boyd next.
Ma'am?
He's on the wall.
Okay. Mr. Blue, okay. All right, Mr. Blue, you're here in 2020 CF 11707AO. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I do find that there is probable cause. I don't have a form for the public defender unless Madam Clerk has one for me. Did you fill one out?
He did fill one out, Your Honor.
He did, okay. Can we read it?
No.
Okay. Do you work, sir?
No, ma'am.
No. Do you get any income whatsoever from anywhere?
Yeah, I get checks every month.
I'm
I
sorry?
get checks every month
From where?
from Social Security.
How much are your checks every month?
Some of them like 9, some 10, 7, 8. So they
Well, it should be a set amount every month.
yeah. But some of them be different amounts though.
Sometimes they're different?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said sometimes they're 700, sometimes they're 800, sometimes they're 900?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the last check that you got?
It was last month. I know I had like 3. I got 3 last month. I cashed 2 and I lost the other one. So
Okay. Do you have any kids?
no, ma'am.
No. Okay. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, Mr. Blue. You're not to have any contact with any victim or witness in the case. You're not to return back to 24 Glen Lane. And then you're not to possess any weapons or firearms or any ammunition. Your bond will stay at $2,500. All right, thank you, sir. Can we have that he filled it out, but it was not provided to the, okay. So that the public defender knows that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Rashawn Boyd.
All right, Mr. Boyd, you're here in 2020 CF 11723AO. You're arrested for aggravated battery with a motor vehicle and 2 counts of battery. I do find that there is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with any victim or witness in the case. You're not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred, and you're not to possess weapons or firearms or any ammunition. Your bond will stay at the $5,000 and $100 and $100. Looks like you do have a 5-day hold for the probation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Tabitha Bozarth.
All right, Ms. Bozarth, you're here in 2020 CF 11703AO. You're arrested for possession of methamphetamine. Do you find that there is probable cause? I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in your case. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You've also got 2020 MM 5653AO for failing to appear. That was for an arraignment on September 4th, 2020. The judge did forfeit your bond and set your bond at $1,000 and $100. Does she have the public defender in that case?
She does not, Judge.
Okay, so I'm gonna appoint the public defender for you in that case as well. It says you qualify for pretrial release, but I don't know how she would if she has an out on release case. So, I'm not gonna place her on pretrial release because she already has another case she's out on release on. So I'm gonna stay the bond at the $1,000 on the methamphetamine case, and the bonds will stay at $1,000 and $100 on the misdemeanor. So you do have the public defender, okay?
Okay, how much is that to get out?
Well, you'll have to contact a bondsman, but you have, it's $1,000 and then $1,000 and $100. So it's a total of $2,100. All right, tell me your name, sir.
First name is Gregory, middle name is Gene, last name is Charles.
All right, Mr. Charles, you're here in 2020 CF 8363AO. You failed to appear for an arraignment on September 24th, 2020.
I was incarcerated, ma'am.
Okay, where were you incarcerated?
Here.
Okay, and was that for a new law offense?
What was that? Say that again?
Is that for a new arrest?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so some judges will find that to be a failure to appear because you've been arrested for something else and you're in jail. So you're gonna have to have your attorneys file a motion, okay? I can't modify the capias. If you have a defense, meaning you were in jail, and you want the attorneys to file that in the motion, the judge may find that that isn't a willful failure to appear, but some judges find that it is. So, does he have the public defender?
He did, Judge, previously appointed.
Okay, so the PD was previously appointed. You do have a $2,000 bond.
Can I not bond out, period? Can you guys?
I see a whole litany of other cases that you have, so I don't know anything about your other cases, but you do have a bond in this case, so I can't tell you about the other cases.
Is this one with the mask or without? Because I have two grand theft of a motor vehicle.
This is for a grand theft of a motor vehicle, and I don't know the date of the offense, but it was set for an arraignment in a couple days ago, okay? So your attorneys will have to file a motion to indicate that you were in jail and why you were in jail and why you missed court, okay?
That's it?
Judge, I just got Mr. Blue's.
Okay. Who's they? Okay. So we'll just put not court appointed.
I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
I haven't sent out any copies yet.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Minerva Charlo, ma'am.
All right, Miss Charlo, I thought we had this is the case where there was a victim that was here earlier.
Pretrial Release was the one that reached out to me. I have no way.
Do we know if they were allowed to be brought up?
I think once one of the workers told them to come back at 1 o'clock, I guess they didn't return.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that if they wanted to be heard, that they
Yeah,
could
they
be
were
heard.
going to talk on
All
my
right. Miss Charlotte, you're here in 2020 CF 11711AO. You're arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and battery. I do find that there is probable cause for those offenses. I am going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you in your case. You're not to have any contact with any victim or witness in the case. You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition.
And I have a hold.
Yes, you do have a hold, ma'am.
Can that hold
So,
be?
hold on.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Your bond is set at $2,500 and $500. You're out on release, in 2020 CF 9714AO. I am revoking the release and setting that bond at none at this time. So I'm going to appoint the public defender in that case for you if you haven't
Wow.
already had them appointed.
If I already have like evictions and everything, and this is supposed to get dropped, and the person hit me, like,
Ma'am, I don't think talking about the case on the record is going to benefit you
All
today.
right, that's fine. Yes, ma'am. That's sick though, and I got PTSD. Can I do my stuff at Aspire, or like this is like ridiculous?
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. God bless you. You're a sick person.
All right, thank you. All right, please tell me your name.
Kadeem Cooper.
Mr. Cooper, you're here in 2020 CF 1126AO. You were arrested for possession of MDMA. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. You're not to possess or consume any drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. Thank you. Your bond is set at $1,000. You're out on release in 2020 CF 5410AO. And it's bond that you're out on bond and pretrial release.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
am revoking that bond and pretrial release and setting that at none. So you do have Mr. Hyde representing you. You're going to have to contact Mr. Hyde. He's going to have to file a motion to get you a bond in Division 16 on the felony case that you previously had.
What about the pre-trial release? Can that be like reinstated or something?
No, sir.
So even if I get another bond on the,
Your attorney will have to file a motion with the trial judge in order to get you a bond, okay?
I know, but what about the pre-trial release? Would that be considered
I've
with
revoked
the
the
bond?
pretrial release. You have no bond in the out on release case, the trafficking in cannabis over 25 pounds.
Yes.
And conspiracy to traffic in cannabis, you have no bond in that case. You do have an attorney,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Hyde. He's
Yes.
going to have to file a motion in the trial division to get you a bond. I have given you a bond in the new case, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, tell me your name.
Andrea Ferguson.
I have, Ms. Didell.
Katrina Didell, refusal to attend court, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm gonna find her refusal to be a waiver. She was given an opportunity to come to initial appearance and she's refused. And I'll appoint the public defender, 2020 CF 11720AO. She's charged with trafficking in heroin over 4 grams, under 14 grams, criminal mischief between 200 and less than 1,000, and trespass in a structure. I do find that there is probable cause. She's not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred, the 4110 West Pine Hill Circle, no contact with victims or witnesses or co-defendants, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no weapons, firearms, or ammunition. Her bond will stay at $100,150. I'll set bonds on count, 2 and 3 at 100.
Scott Boss, also refused.
Okay. All right, I'm going to find his refusal to be a waiver, having been given the opportunity to come to initial appearance. I'll appoint the public defender in 2020 CF 11704AO. And that's possession of fentanyl. I do find probable cause. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and that bond will stay at 1,000. And then he's also got 2020 CF 11399. And that's a warrant. Probable cause was found for burglary of a dwelling and grand theft of 100 or more from a dwelling. And I'll appoint the public defender in that case as well. Pursuant to Judge Wilson's warrant, he's not to return back to the scene, have no contact with any victim or any witnesses, no weapons, firearms, ammunition, and shall not commit any new law violations as part of the warrant. I'm also adding no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And those bonds will stay at $5,000 and $150. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Andrea Ferguson.
All right, Ms. Ferguson. You're here in 2020 CF 117117AO. You're arrested for possession of cocaine. I do find that there is probable cause, and I will appoint the public defender's office. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. Your bond will stay at $1,000. You're also not to return back to the Arena Food Store at 635 North Westmoreland Drive. And I'm not taking any action on your out on release cases, but if you come back again, Ms. Ferguson, and you have 3 cases that you're out on release on, it's probably not going to be a good day. Okay? You get what I'm saying? Okay.
So I get to leave?
You do have a bond, okay? So you'll have to bond out on the case that you were just arrested for.
How
But
much?
I didn't revoke your release on the other cases, okay?
How much do I have to pay?
It's a $1,000 bond, so you'll have to call a bondsman or a family member, okay?
I have no family.
Terrence Garrett, refused.
All right, I'm gonna find Mr. Garrett's refusal to be a waiver, having been given the opportunity to come to initial appearance. I'll appoint the public defender in both of the cases. I've got 2020 CF 11709AO. It's a grand theft, 3rd degree of a motor vehicle and possession of MDMA. I do find that there is probable cause. No contact with victims or witnesses, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred, no driving without a valid driver's license. The bond on count 1 is $2,500, count 2 is $150. Now, we've also got 2020 CT 5990AO and 2020 CT 5991AO. It's charged with reckless driving and driving while license suspended. I do find that there is probable cause. I previously did appoint the public defender. He cannot drive without a valid driver's license. The bond is $500 and $100. He's out on release in 2020 CF 1381AO. I am revoking the release, setting the bond at none. I think he has the public defender. Okay. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Shane Joffrey.
All right, sir, you're here in 2020 CF 11712AO. You're arrested for criminal mischief over 1,000. I do find that there is probable cause. I don't have a form for the public defender. Do we have one for Mr. Joffrey? Do you have the public defender in your other cases? Yes. I'm seeing Mr. Juergens nod his head.
Yes, you got it,
Okay,
Your
all
Honor,
right.
sorry.
Do you want me to appoint the public defender in this case for you as well?
Is it going to be him? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna be assigned to your case downtown.
Okay.
Okay, but
Okay.
for right now, he's the public defender here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm gonna appoint the public defender to represent you in this case as well. Your bond will stay at 1,000, no weapons, firearms, or any ammunition, sir. All
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Thanks.
right, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Brian Keith Gordon.
Okay, Mr. Gordon, you're here in 2020 CF 11724AO. You're arrested for possession of methamphetamine. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I'm going to place you in pretrial release. Make sure you comply with the court order as well as pretrial release, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Lawrence Govan.
All right, Mr. Govan, you're here in 2020 CF 11708AO. You're arrested for an armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, criminal mischief, less than 200, carrying a concealed firearm, possession of cannabis, more than 20 grams, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver with a weapon, possession of drug paraphernalia. And I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender, and count 1 as a PBL, punishable by life felony. Ms. Bush, did you wish to be heard as to bond?
Your Honor, the state is not going to make a proof evident presumption grade argument. The state would ask the court to take into consideration the fact that this was a burglary with a loaded firearm, Your Honor, and set the bond accordingly. The state would recommend a high bond as to count 1, and the state would recommend subsidiary bonds for counts 2 through 6.
Okay, Mr. Govan, you're not to have any contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. You're not to return back to the Villages apartment complex at 5340 Millennia Boulevard. So not that specific apartment nor any place at the Villages.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
All right. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. If you have any additional firearms or weapons or ammunition, you gotta surrender them within 6 hours of your release from the jail.
Yes, ma'am.
Count 1 will be, bond will be set at 20,000, 150 on counts, or excuse me, 100 on count 2, 150 on count 3, 150 on count 4, 150 on count 5, and 100 on count 6. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Timothy Green.
Mr. Green, you're here in 2020 CF 11713AO. You're arrested for petty theft with 2 prior theft convictions. Do you find that there is probable cause? I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in your case. You're not to have any contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. You're not to return back to the Circle K at 13001 West Colonial Drive. Your bond is stayed at $1,000. All right, thank you, sir.
Could I resolve that today?
It's a felony, sir. I can't resolve
Oh.
that.
Okay. And why was it made a felony?
Because you have 2 prior theft convictions.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Jessica Jackson.
All right, Ms. Hall bonded, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll take no action on Ms. Hall. Ms. Jackson, you're here in 2019 CF 10879AO. You're arrested for failing to appear for an arraignment on November 26, 2019.
I was in another county.
Okay, you're gonna have to have your attorneys file a motion with that information and provide that information to the judge in the case. And the judge did set your bond at $3,000. I'll appoint the public defender if they weren't previously appointed based on your affidavit here. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
William Larson.
Mr. Larson, you're here in 2020 CF 11716AO. You're arrested for aggravated stalking after an injunction. and a violation of an injunction. And there is probable cause for those offenses. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. You're not to have any contact. Can we have him sign a no contact order if possible? Because it's. So you're not to have any contact directly or indirectly with any victim in the case. You're not to return back to the victim's home, or I understand that you go to the gym, but you're not going to be able to go there until that's modified. That's the gym downtown. So you're not to go back there as well. No weapons or firearms or any ammunition. You're to abide by the injunction in 2019 DR 014449-0. You've got a lot going on here. You've got you got a Seminole County case for stalking, dating violence. The date of arrest was just the other day. You've also got a hold for GPS stalking. My guess is that's for that Seminole County case as well. And you have an active injunction with a different victim as well in a Seminole County case. This injunction is still active, okay? Just
I actually thought it was
okay,
inactive.
well, I understand what you thought, and I read that in the affidavit, but on December 26, 2019, you were in attendance at the hearing with Judge Ashton, and the petitioner withdrew the motion to dissolve it, took no action, and the injunction remained in effect, and you were present at that hearing. So I'm telling you now, you were there and you know that it's an active injunction. So your bond is set at $30,000 on count 1, $2,500 on count 2.
How much?
Do you understand everything on the no contact order, Mr. Larson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Christopher Lentz. Oh. Christopher Lentz.
All right, Mr. Lentz, you're here in 2020 CF 7416AO. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for grand theft third degree of a motor vehicle and grand theft third degree. And I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you in that case.
Yes, ma'am.
So in that case, you're not to have any contact with any victim, witness, or co-defendant. You're not to return back, I believe, to the Walmart at 8990 Turkey Lake Road. And your bond's $2,500 and $150. You've also got 2020 CF 5794AO that's failing to appear.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was for an arraignment on July 10th, 2020. The judge did set your bond at $4,500. I don't know if you have the public defender, but I'll appoint them on that case as well for you. I cannot take any action on the out on release on that case or on your out on release case due to the date of the offense that's alleged in the warrant, which precedes.
Could you elaborate on what that means?
That means I can't revoke your bond, okay? But
Thank God.
don't thank me, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm telling you right now that if you come back again and you've committed any new law offense from this point forward, your bonds can be revoked. And
Yes,
I will
ma'am.
have no problem revoking your bond.
Yes, yeah, I understand. Yes, ma'am. My apologies. Whoa.
Antonio McLaughlin, refused, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to find Mr. McLaughlin's refusal to be a waiver. He had an opportunity to come to initial appearance and refused. 2020 CF 11727AO. He's arrested for MDMA or possession of MDMA. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bond will stay at $1,000. Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
It's Cynthia Marrera.
Ms. Marrera, you're here in 2020 CF 11706AO. You're arrested for possession of alprazolam. I do find that there is probable cause, and I will appoint the public defender to represent you in your case. And so that, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, that bond will stay at $1,000. They filed an out-of-county violation of probation based on the new law offense from Seminole County. So there is probable cause for that offense. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office here to help you with that case. We'll also reach out to Seminole County, but that bond will stay set at none at this time. And you should hear back from us in about a week or so as to any violation of probation bond, but.
So am I
Seminole
able to
might
bond
give you-
out today?
No, you have no bond on the violation of probation, but we will reach out to Seminole County, okay? The public defender's also been appointed for you.
I spoke to my, to the probation officer, and because I'm almost done in December, and I've been doing good this whole time, and I'm on the Aspire program for methadone as well, so
Well,
he
you're-
said that it was,
You're gonna have to contact the public defender. They'll be able to speak with the probation officer, and we'll hear back from Seminole County. It's up to the judge in Seminole County, not the probation officer, okay? All right, tell me your name, please.
Jerry Newsom.
All right, Mr. Newsom, this is a domestic case as well. It's listed as a domestic case in the warrant, so we'll need a no contact order as well. All right, it's a dating violence case. Mr. Newsom, you're here in 2020 CF 10833. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant. Probable cause was found for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. So you're not to have any contact directly or indirectly with any victim or witness in the case. I'm gonna have you sign the no contact order, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have one for him? Okay, no problem. We'll have you review that, so make sure you understand everything on it. You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms or any ammunition, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription.
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not to have any unsupervised contact with any minor child under the age of 18. And you're to surrender any weapons or firearms or any ammunition to your local law enforcement agency within 6 hours of any release from the Orange County Jail.
Yes, ma'am.
It looks like Judge Bain put on the warrant no return, but it looks like the offense is alleged to have occurred at one of your relatives' houses, so I'm gonna strike that from the warrant. And then there is weekly check-ins with pretrial supervision or pretrial release. So you do qualify for that, but I am gonna impose a bond as well. Mr. Newsom, did you understand everything on the no contact order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Your bond is set at $3,500 with pretrial release, so you will have weekly check-ins with pretrial release pursuant to the warrant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
So I did strike the no return, and then I did add no unsupervised contact with any minor child under the age of 18. And I added surrender firearms. No, there was not. Yeah, they don't work together. All right, tell me your name, sir.
Zaquan New.
All right, Mr. New, you're here in 2020 CF 8860. You were arrested pursuant to a capias. The state did file an information charging you with grand theft of a firearm. And the judge who signed the capias indicated no contact directly or indirectly with any victim, witness, or co-defendant. You're not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. I'm also ordering no weapons or firearms or any ammunition, and the bond is set at $1,000. And I said appoint the public defender. Okay. Sorry. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Joel Ortiz.
Mr. Ortiz, you're here in 2020 CF 11699AO. You're arrested for possession of cannabis, more than 20 grams. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. Your bond will stay at $1,000. I'm not taking any action on your out on release case. That doesn't mean that if you come back again, a judge won't revoke the release on both cases, okay?
Yeah,
All right?
that's no problem.
So stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to stay out the way. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Sean Pope.
Mr. Polk, you're here in 2020 CF 11627. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant. Probable cause was found for robbery with a firearm. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in your case. And robbery with a firearm is a punishable by life felony. And Ms. Bush, did you wish to be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would ask the court to take into consideration the facts contained within the affidavit for the arrest warrant. Those facts are provided by witnesses that ultimately identified Mr. Polk via photo lineup. Those facts are also provided based on investigative means and cross-referencing with other jurisdiction robberies that were committed in the same manner. Evidence that all of the online postings intersected and came back to Mr. Polk. The state would ask the court to find that the facts contained in the affidavit rise to the level of proof evident or presumption great that Mr. Polk is the one that did commit the robberies with a firearm on September 5th with one victim and September 5th with a second victim, at which time he met the victims allegedly to purchase a PlayStation, and in both instances robbed the victims of the cash that they brought to pay for the PlayStation at gunpoint. Also based on the fact that in his statements where he admitted the robberies, he advised law enforcement that the firearm that they found on him when they arrested him was not the same firearm that he used in these two robberies, but a different firearm. State would ask that the court hold him at no bond after a finding of proof evident or presumption great.
All right, Mr. Jurgens?
Yes, Your Honor, I would just defer the court's judgment, given the arrest affidavit.
I have read the affidavit, the 5-page affidavit, and based on everything contained within it, as well as the state's arguments as to what is in it, I do find that there is proof evident and presumption is great. Mr. Polk, I am going to hold you at no bond on this case. And so your attorneys will be able to file a bond motion for you downtown. I do see that you have some other cases with the same offenses, so maybe you'll get the same attorney. I'm not sure. You're not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. No contact with any victim or any witness in the case. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. Okay?
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
luck.
Have a nice day.
Good afternoon, tell me your name.
Jesse Prindle.
All right, Mr. Prindle, you're here in 2020 CF 11721AO. You're arrested for carrying a concealed weapon by a convicted felon. And I do find that there is probable cause. And I'll appoint the public defender. And 2020 CF 11722AO, you're arrested for possession of ammunition by a convicted felon. I do find that there is probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in that case as well. So no weapons, firearms, or any ammunition. It looks as though they've trespassed you from all Disney properties, so you're not to return back to any Disney property. And you do qualify for pretrial release. So I'm going to release you to pretrial release, okay? Make sure you show up to court. Keep in touch with the public defender, okay?
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Was that in both cases, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
Tavares Robinson, refused.
Okay. Keep turning around. It's giving me good.
Trying to keep up.
I know. All right, Mr. Robinson's refused. Find his refusal to be a waiver. He's given opportunity to attend first appearance, and he's chosen not to. 2020 CF 11714AO. He was arrested for attempted burglary of an occupied dwelling and possession of burglary tools. I do find that there's probable cause. I can't remember if I said I appointed the public defender, but I will. And he's not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. No contact with any victim, witness, or co-defendant. No weapons, firearms, or any ammunition. The bond on count 1 is $5,000. Count 2 is $150. I'm revoking the releases in 2020 CF 8188AO and 2020 MM 2984. Looks like he does have attorneys in both of those cases. Those bonds will be set at none. All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name, sir.
Yes, ma'am. My name is James Shaw. James William Shaw.
Okay, Mr. Shaw, you're here in 2020 CF 10385. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm and battery pursuant to a warrant. So probable cause was already found. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. So no contact with any victim in the case, no weapons, firearms, or any ammunition. If you have any weapons or firearms, you'll have to surrender them to law enforcement, or any ammunition within 6 hours of any release from the jail. Based on my review of the affidavit, I don't know if you're roommates, but I'm just gonna. Wait, hold on. It's showing that you have the same address. Okay, so I'm not really sure. But, so what I'm gonna do is say that maintain a separate residence.
Don't nobody live with me.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it in there, just to be safe, okay, so we're all clear. So I don't know where you're living or where the victim's living, so I'm just gonna say maintain separate residence, and if the victim is at a residence, which you are going to, you can go back with law enforcement to get anything that you need, okay? That's also to protect you. Okay? I don't want you to say anything about the facts, or I'm not saying you're guilty of anything, okay? There's been probable cause found, so I can't address that. So best thing for you to do is just talk to your attorney, only your attorney, about the
Can I
facts
say
of the
something
case.
about probable cause? What you mean by probable cause? I don't know. I don't even know who it is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is a case I don't know nothing about.
Okay, well,
I just found out I got a warrant yesterday.
Yeah, there's a warrant.
I didn't know nothing about this.
Do you want to let me talk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there was a warrant. It's alleged that on August 25th, 2020, that you committed an aggravated assault with a firearm and a battery. And the victim's last name is Barconi, okay? So that should give you a little bit of information. Now, if you have a defense, which I'm sure it sounds like you do,
Yes.
talk to your attorney only about it, okay?
Yeah.
All right? So I'm gonna set your bond on count 1 at $2,500, count 2 will be $100, okay?
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Good afternoon, Devontae Stallings.
All right, Mr. Stallings, you're here in 2020 CF 11728AO. You're arrested for grand theft third degree of a firearm and carrying a concealed firearm. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No contact with any victim, no weapons, no firearms, no ammunition, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, okay? Make sure you comply with the court order as well as pretrial release, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
How are you doing? Tony Vega?
Okay, and Chase Teller bonded? Yes, Your Honor. Okay, we'll take no action on that. And you said Vega Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Vega Martinez, you're here in 2020 CF 11692AO. You're arrested for possession of cocaine. I do find that there is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. I'm going to place you on pretrial release. Make sure you comply with the court order as well as pretrial, okay?
All right, thank you so much.
The next defendant, I have to contact his attorney.
Okay, we're gonna, is this? Mr. Hack? Okay, we're gonna call, it looks like Patrick Harris, Attorney Harris. Maybe your family hired somebody, I don't know. But you have an attorney who we're gonna call, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. Harris. This is Denise calling from Fort County. I'm going to go to the judge for okay, please hold.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harris, this is Judge Wish.
Hi, Judge Wish. Thank you for calling me and let me do this by phone.
Sure, I don't know if it's possible, if you maybe just get a little closer to your receiver, it's just a little low.
Yeah, how's this?
Perfect, thank you.
Good.
All right.
Sure.
And then, your Mr. Hack looked a little confused that we were calling an attorney, so my guess is somebody from his family must have hired you.
That is correct. There were some family members and a friend in this afternoon or this morning who hired us. It's actually Mr. Cagle who will be representing him from here out, but he wasn't available, so he asked for the cover for him today.
Oh, Mr. Chris Cagle?
Yes.
Okay, and is he going to be filing a notice of appearance?
Yes, if he hasn't already. I'd be surprised if he hasn't already, but yes, he will be doing it.
Okay, and I'm just going to have you state your name for the record, Mr. Hack.
Fatty Hack.
Okay.
Fatty Hack.
Okay. And so, Mr. Hack, you're here in 2020 CF 11577. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant. Probable cause was found for aggravated battery with a firearm. And I have the public defender form here that you filled out, but I'm not going to appoint them because it appears as though you have another attorney, okay? So I'm just going to rip this up, all right? And so it looks like Mr. Cagle is the attorney that's going to be representing you, and Mr. Harris is just filling in for him, okay?
Okay, ma'am. Appreciate that.
So, Mr. Harris, I don't know if you've had the benefit of reviewing the affidavit or wanted to be heard as to any bond.
I do want to be heard as to bond. I did not review the affidavit, although in discussions with our office, I don't think we contest the finding of probable cause here today. However, we would ask that a reasonable bond be set in this matter. The information I've been given is that Mr. Hawk is local. He resides here locally with his mom. He does have a daughter also, that he has ties to the community. He is not a threat to abscond or leave or anything. The only criminal record that I'm aware of, I did pull up his prior case. It is there was a withhold. It was nonviolent. I believe it was a drug-related offense. And other than that, I believe all that I saw on his prior score sheet was misdemeanor offenses, none of which were crimes of violence. So for that reason, we'd ask that you just set a reasonable bond in this case.
Okay, and what is your idea of a reasonable bond?
I was hoping that you could set it at somewhere around $5,000 cash or surety.
Okay, and then Ms. Bush, did you wish to be heard?
No, Your Honor, outside of whether or not he has a passport and to surrender the passport if he does.
Okay, well,
And the state, with regard to the bond, the state would defer to the court as to the bond, Your Honor.
okay.
I do not believe that this is a punishable
No,
bond.
and I mean, I wouldn't require anybody else to surrender a passport for an aggravated battery with a firearm.
Well, I do not have a passport, Your Honor, so I'm sorry
Okay.
to speak out of turn, but
It's not a life felony or a capital offense.
It is not, Your Honor, but it is a firearm case and a battery.
Okay, so Mr. Hack, you've indicated you don't own a passport.
no, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
I'm not a
so-
flight risk at all whatsoever. I'm local. I stay home. This is the reason why they
Okay,
came to
hold
my
on.
house.
Mr. Hack, I don't think you should talk, okay? All right? So, Mr. Harris, he does have criminal history. His last offense was January 13th, 2020. I'm not sure if that was the withhold that you're talking about as a felony possession of a
didn't-
controlled substance.
I was not aware of anything in 2020, Judge.
Yeah.
The only one that I recall seeing was 2018. There was a withhold on a drug. It was a drug offense. However, he got time served for that. He was not on probation at the time that this
Okay.
offense is alleged to have occurred.
He does have some probation violations and things of that nature. I am going to set the bond at $10,000. He's not to have any contact, Mr. Hack, with any victim or any witness or any possible co-defendant in the case, okay? No
ma'am.
weapons or firearms or any ammunition. You're not to return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or any drugs without a valid prescription. If you have any weapons or any firearms or any ammunition, you must surrender them within 6 hours of your release from the Orange County Jail to any local law enforcement agency. If you get caught with a firearm or any weapons or ammunition, or you get arrested for anything else, your release can get revoked. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Keep in touch with your attorney. Don't miss any court dates, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
And Judge,
Yes?
yeah, just one last thing, if I could. I know, and just for Mr. Hawk, that just to let him know that our office will contact the family and friends that came in to meet with us, so that they'll be aware of this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Have a good
Bye-bye.
day. Okay.
The next defendant is not coming, but he got the private attorney that won't go to phone.
Okay. Mr. Correa is refusing or medical?
Behavior, Your Honor.
Behavior, okay. What does USMS mean?
Federal U.S. Marshals.